If your sales team keeps missing targets, your business is already capped. You've found your ceiling. Even if your product's brilliant. I spent a decade leading door-to-door sales teams in one of the hardest sales environments out there. And the teams that go on extended win streaks all have 5 key sales systems dialed in. These are the 5 proven sales systems. Today I'm going to walk you through each of the 5 sales systems, and today you'll be able to quickly realize where you're strong and where you're weak. Let me show you how to diagnose the areas where your team's amateur, and let me show you how to turn them into sales pros. The 1 to 2 areas that's holding your teams back, we'll diagnose, and you'll be able to clearly see the areas that are holding your sales teams back. But the good news is that's the area of opportunity and growth to get past your sales ceiling. The goal here is to turn your sales team into sales pros and start stacking wins month after month, quarter after quarter. It's time to go on a win streak. These 5 key sales systems are the secret sauce to 2 publicly traded and 2 absolute sales engines in Vivint Solar and Sunrun. For a decade, I led my own sales teams to $142 million in sales. Their success and their track records all lead back to the amazing salespeople who are sales pros. I not only led my team to $142 million in sales, I'm also a top 0.01% in career sales in that industry. I can tell you exactly why sales teams thrive and businesses thrive instead of just merely surviving. Regardless of your product, service, industry, these are the 5 proven sales systems. This is a high-level view here for those in the C-suite, business owners, founders, etc., not necessarily for individual sales reps. And let's see if we can break through your sales ceiling. What's going on in your head right now when you think of your monthly sales numbers? Is it exciting? Are you frustrated? Maybe even you're angry. Do you print out your sales numbers at the end of the month just so you can rip them up and throw them away? Maybe that makes you feel a little bit better. Would you describe your sales team right now as sales amateur or sales pros? I got a little visual ready for you, so let's go to the notebook. Okay, here's a little visual for you. Let's say you're going on a road trip here as an analogy. So you're starting from, let's say you're going from LA to New York City on a road trip, and you're going to drive cross country. I don't know where the exact roads are, but you want to get from A to B. Now, this is a long road. The reason I'm explaining this is sales is not a sprint. It's more of a marathon, okay? You got to do it at a high level consistently, day after day, week after week, month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year. So there's always those sales teams and those sales reps who, go from 0 to 100 miles an hour and they burn out and they're done. And so I want to give you an analogy here of what kind of car would you like to have to get cross country, so to speak, in your sales with your sales team. So we look down here. Here you are. These are your sales up here, and this is the path and time. So over time, the goal is to get our sales to go up, up, and away. Now, what kind of car are you driving? What kind of sales team? Maybe you got the old clunker going on right now. Nothing's working. It's just an old clunker. Maybe you have the teen driver. I have a teenage son, and, we gave him my old car, and it's got a few dings and stuff in it already. Maybe that's the teen car. They don't have a lot of experience. They're not really great at driving. And maybe your business is in the lower stage, kind of the adolescent stages there. Let's go red with this one. Maybe you guys are driving the clown car. Sorry, a clown car. You seen that clown car where they fit a whole bunch of reps into a small car and they come out? They're having lots of fun, but they're not going very far. And you definitely don't want to drive cross country with a bunch of clowns. So maybe your car is full of a lot of unserious salespeople right now. Maybe you have something real steady right now. Maybe you got the old Toyota Corolla. Don't know how to spell Corolla, but you'll get the idea. You got the Toyota Corolla. It's really, really solid. It's really reliable. It's increasing your sales. Sales are starting to look good. It's nothing fancy, but just a solid, nice car. Oh, we got to use red for this one. So you decide you want to speed things up and you get into a Ferrari here. Got to use red for Ferrari. Now, fast car, obviously it's going to get you some speed, but there's really, for the most part, so it's really only a 2-person car. So it's really not going to get you where you want to go long term. It can help you speed up things, but going cross country in a Ferrari, is fun if you got you and your spouse or you and a buddy, but not so fun if you're trying to create a real big organization and have a lot of leaders in your sales team, so to speak. What I prefer on a cross-country trip is going to be a Lincoln Navigator. You know, the one on the movies where the Secret Service hop out. You know, you can take a lot of people, you can fit a lot of people. It's going to be super comfortable. It's going to be a nice ride. It's a nice, smooth ride. And that's going to really get you where you want to get to cross-country. Now, just, you know, obviously an analogy, not a perfect analogy. You kind of get the idea. Start thinking about what kind of sales teams you want. Sales is a long trip cross country. So we're not just talking about going cross town for a quick trip, right? We're talking about sales is more of a long term. So you want to build the systems, the vehicle to get your sales, have great success long term. You might not be able to tell, but back in the day, I used to be an art teacher. Now, this model is going to show you the 5 sales systems, but in the heart of the 5 sales systems, we need to talk about what the real goal is, right? You want to increase your sales, obviously. In order to do that, we got to take our sales team here from amateur, and we got to get them up to pro. No one ever argues with me when I ask if their salespeople improve, if that will result in increased sales. Everyone says, of course. So here in this area, this is exactly what we need. So that's the heart of the goal and what we have to achieve. And we can do that within 90 days. Just like a company I worked with called Spidex, they're a pest control company. We increased their salespeople's close rates by 20% in a matter of 60 days. Total sales increased 40% in 90 days. The non-sales people, the technicians that service homes, they actually increased their upsells by 9% from non-sales people. So it can happen really fast and really quickly with the right methods. So zoom in on that triangle a little bit from going from amateur to pros. So there's definitely levels to it. You don't just go right from an amateur right to a pro. So where are you at right now in your business? So down here we have amateur, and up here we have Sales Pro. Now, on the Proven 5 sales system, so the bottom level usually has 0 to 1 sales system dialed in. They might be just starting, or they might not have any base figured out, but it's kind of like you're, you know, for a baseball analogy, you're kind of in T-ball, little kids, you know, that play baseball. If you have 2, that's obviously better, but you're probably going to be a little bit stagnant in that area. Your growth and your sales are stagnant, and you could say that's more of like a youth baseball team or a youth soccer team, whatever you want to use. If you have 3 of the Proven 5 sales systems dialed in, then you're going to be growing. You could reference that to like a high school team. You got a lot of things figured out, right? You're not just starting off anymore. You've got a lot of growth. You got a lot of good things. Now, this is where it kind of a danger zone though, because like a lot of high school kids, they think they've arrived. They think they know it all. They think they're really hot stuff, right? And I've seen a lot of companies stay in that zone for a long time because they really don't want to do what it takes to really push themselves to the next level. So if people are okay with being mediocre, they'll stay there. If people aren't, that's where they level up. Those are my kind of people. These teams and these companies have 4 sales systems dialed in. In their industry, they're usually going to be in 2nd, 3rd place. They're close to the top, but just not the top dog. And this is kind of like a college. And obviously on the top, you got the Sales Pro. They have all 5 systems dialed in. They're industry leaders. They're market leaders. Things are humming, and that's where we're trying to get you. So right now, let's just think about getting yourself obviously up to the next spot. That's all we want to do, is just get yourself up to the next stop. Now, in 90 days, typically we can help people jump 2 or 3 spots because in 90 days we implement 1 to 2 of the Proven sales systems. Now, some of you wanted your sales results to be much better 6 months ago. Some of you are ready to turn this thing around, get headed in the right direction. You really got to fix your sales fast. So here's what you can do. Send me a message on Instagram, links below. Send me the word pro so I know you've watched this training. I'll send you some information, see what it's like to work together. You can check that out and really quickly know if it's a right fit or not. Again, that word's pro, links in the description below. All right, let's keep going. So here's your path that you want to get going on, right? So this is your now. You're right here. You're obviously trying to get to the future good news up here. But there's also a second future that we need to be aware of, because cells, like the earth, it has gravity. I like to call this cells gravity. If things stay the same as they are right now, it's not going to go straight across. It's actually, because of cells gravity, things get worse. They never stay the same. They either get better or worse. So this also could be the future. Just depends on the path that you're wanting to take. So your now might be low leads, a low closing percentage. Your salespeople might be confused, or you might be confused on how to get there. You got low motivated people. You might be losing some very good people. You might be stuck right now and really trying to figure out how to get over the next hump. When you figure out the Proven 5 sales systems, you're going to have increase in leads, increased closing percentage. You're obviously going to have clarity on your sales systems, your sales path. Motivation is going to be up. People are going to be excited. They're going to work without you and without being pushed. That's key. Your best people are staying, and obviously you get unstuck. All right, let's go into the Proven 5 sales systems, break them down for you. But more importantly, you need to see where you're strong, where you're weak. And in those weak areas, that's where your opportunity of growth is. That's the key. We have compensation. How well do we pay our people, and how well is our compensation plan designed to get great sales results? Number 2 is incentives, and you can also call it rewards. Incentives and rewards. Number 3 is sales training. Obviously, to get good at selling, we need to work at it and improve our sales skills. Number 4 is team culture. And lastly is leadership mentoring. Those are the 5 proven sales systems that professional sales teams have dialed. Now the diagram shows you how these two are related, this is related kind of on its own, and leadership and team culture are related. Now, by knowing kind of some symptoms behind these, immediately you might think, okay, we don't have that dialed in. Immediately you might start thinking about where you're strong and where you're weak, but there's some symptoms kind of behind it that really give us some key indicators. And I look at each of those areas I've kind of diagrammed, this is a wall, and you got to get past that wall. Whoa. In order to get from here into there, you got to get past that wall. So this is some problem areas that I'm seeing. So over here, the problem area with compensation incentives, meaning if you don't have compensation incentive dialed in, the symptoms that you're going to see are low motivation. What it looks like is boss needs to be in the mix constantly. Nothing gets done without you pushing them. People are not self-motivated. They're not pulling themselves forward. Your systems aren't dialed where reps are reaching towards a goal instead of being pushed from behind. Seems like you care more as the leader, the CEO, the founder. You care more about them pushing than they do. You feel like you're dragging them along, or you're pushing them along instead of them being self-motivated and really pushing the pace. So what we're trying to get from low motivation to high motivation. Now in sales training, the block, the wall, so to speak, that you got to get over is the fact that this is low sales skills. The skills of selling, the methods, the techniques. What that looks like is having a low show-up rate, low close rate, sales reps not being confident in their skills and their ability. You feel like, man, we're spending a lot on marketing, on leads, and they're just not closing. There's no sales frameworks. Everyone's kind of doing their own thing, and some work some of the time. You might have a few like hero reps that really do well and everyone else is struggling. Even if you're not a salesperson as a leader and your background's not in sales, you can definitely see it. But you might not know exactly what's going on, but you know when it's not good. So the key there, obviously, is to have high sales skills. You can kind of see the pattern here. Now over in team culture and leadership mentoring. The problems and symptoms over here is this is a losing environment. You're not stacking wins. Things are inconsistent. Sales go up, but they go back down. You know, one step forward, two step back, that kind of thing. Your best people leave. The feeling in the area is like, we're not achieving, we're not really pushing, we're not excited about the company goals. We're just kind of getting by. The idea now of like the quiet quitting that you've heard about. And the low performers, they have a tendency to stay. High performers that want more, they leave. Just getting by, just doing the bare minimum. You know, your people are not connected. There's no leaders in the organization coming up. And generally speaking, you've seen the teams in professional sports that are always losing. There's a reason they're always losing. Not saying that's you. Don't want to poke the bear. So here we want to get to a winning environment, an environment that where winning is commonplace, it's normal, it's expected, and you don't have to be good at spelling to be a good salesperson. Now, you might already have a pretty good idea of kind of where you're weak and where you're strong right now, but let's help you kind of define that a little bit. Let's help you get a little bit more clarity on each of the 5. So in our motivation area over here, let's talk about first compensation. Compensation still is the #1 driver for salespeople. I don't see that changing anytime soon. Compensation gets good people in the door. You're able to attract top talent. And when you design your compensation plan correctly, you're paying for performance. And I'm a big believer in having 100% sales commission structures. I was in one of those for my entire career. All of my people were in 100% sales commission structures. You pay for performance. And so the indicators of who's winning and who's losing is very, very obvious. When the compensation plan is designed correctly, it just drives the key indicators, which right here is sales. It's going to drive those forward. If people don't produce, they don't make any money, and they'll quickly figure out how to produce. So now on each of the 5, I want you to quickly grade yourself as we go through that. Grade your sales team. So we're just going to look at it like a traffic light. Is it red? Not doing too good. Is it yellow? Meh, okay, but some improvements. And is it green? You got everything dialed in there. So for compensation, are you a red, yellow, or green? Okay, incentives and rewards. Now, some of you this might not be super obvious what it is, so I'm going to quickly define it. So it's creating sales competitions, incentives, reward structures based on performance. So think of competition and think of a reward or an incentive at the end of that competition. So in our case, we're talking sales, right? And some people, they look at it like, oh, this sounds gimmicky, but it absolutely drives motivation and performance. It's really good for breaking up the long monotony, you know, that long drive from coast to coast that we had. It's really great at having some small bursts of energy, some small bursts of performance, and really incorporating some fun and excitement in what can sometimes be a sales grind. So it boosts performance. It done the right way, it absolutely will boost performance, and it gives you an extra little shot of, you know, sales, extra production, and it adds so much fun to the environment, which also will help with kind of the team culture aspect. I'll give you a quick example from my sales teams. Running sales incentives was a core factor. Obviously, that's why it's in the Proven 5. In my entire career and working with salespeople, it was crazy to see our sales reps made really good money. They were making, you know, $5K or so and for an average sell. And it was crazy to see how a $200 budget for an incentive, people would absolutely go nuts for it. They would bend over backwards. They would push longer. They would, you know, work much, much harder for a $200 incentive. They would make an extra 5 to 10K in commissions, but that $200 incentive was the driver that made it all happen. It was so interesting to see that. So you can have a super small budget, and when it's done right, you can absolutely turn $200 into $2,000 in revenue. But it has to be done right. So if you don't run any incentives at all, you're probably going to be red. Maybe you're running incentives right now, and you run them, but they're just not dialed. People are not doing what I just explained. They're not excited. They're not pushing. Maybe that's a yellow. Or if what I explained is your reality, congratulations, you're green on that one. Now, sales training. So obviously that's a core, right? This is kind of a standalone. It's very important that it's by itself. So having the sales skills, Your people are salespeople. They should be very good at sales. Everyone knows sales skills valuable, but very few organizations and teams are good at sales. And you know good sales when you see it. Take, for instance, me playing the piano versus a master piano player. Like, you don't have to be that smart to figure out the master piano player's a pro and I'm lower than an amateur. The quickest way to improve your sales results, obviously, is this area. Okay, if you want quick results, you just got to focus on this first. So there is still kind of an A and B on this. So on one side, you have the sales methods, so using proven methods that actually work. People are shocked when I'm able to go into their company and improve their sales, and I really know nothing or very little about their product or service. We're not talking about product or service. You as the leader, you know your product service inside and out, but it's about correct sales method. This is about how to sell it. And the methods that we teach work with any product service industry. It does not matter. Why? Because we're talking about human behavior, human emotion, human psychology. At the end of the day, there's a human that's buying your product or service or business. Part B of that is sales training. So we have to have consistent sales training. It's surprising to me that sales companies, they have sales training when people are getting onboarded and then they quit that. That makes no sense to me. I'm a big believer in treating salespeople like athletes. Athletes have to be trained consistently. They don't just get good and then you stop. I'm not just talking about like once a week or one, 3-day sprint that you do and you don't go back to it. They got to be training constantly to get better. And so you have to have your system on your training system dialed in for that. So where are you at on that? Are you a red light, yellow light, green light? Hopefully you're a green light. Okay, team culture, kind of a buzzword the last 4 or 5 years, I think, but it's super important and super valuable. If you remember back in compensation, we talked about a good compensation plan and high compensation plan gets good people in the door. Well, I've always said compensation gets good people in the door, but team culture gets them to stay. Team culture is more of a feeling. It's what your organization is all about. When someone from the outside comes in and they comment about what the feeling is, what the people are like, that's your team culture. Some team culture is accidental. No one's designed it, no one's planned it, no one's been intentional about it. It just kind of morphs and happens. The problem with that is usually the complainers are the most vocal. The team culture lowers to kind of their level, to the complaining level. So it's what you're all about. Have you planned it? Have you designed it? Have you built your team culture purposefully? Is there good energy in the building? Is there excitement about the team? Are people hanging out with each other? Are people excited when someone wins, or is there jealousy? Is there togetherness? Is there unity? Do people help each other before they're even asked? Or does the boss have to direct people to get along, or does the boss have to direct people to help each other? I'll give you an idea how powerful team culture is. So I guess we knew we had pretty good culture. Here's an example of that. When we had to let an individual go because of performance, and we were 100% commission, so we were like, man, how's he even making money? He's struggling. We just got to let him go so he can move on, go to something that was a little bit easier for him. Honestly, it just wasn't a good fit, and it's not a good fit. It's a very, very difficult industry. So we let him go, and we're talking to him and going through that process, and he asked us leaders, he said, does this mean I can't come to the team events? And of course he couldn't. He wasn't going to be on the team. But that just goes to show you, he'd been hanging on for a few months with making no money in our organization just because he liked the camaraderie. He liked what we were building. He loved the team culture. Build team culture, it'll pay dividends. So that's team culture, red, yellow, or green for you. All right, number 5, leadership mentoring. So take a look at your organization. Just look at your organization. Do you have a bench ready to go of leaders that could step in at any moment? Say a key leader left for whatever reason. Do you have someone ready to go to replace them? If you do, you're probably going to be a green. Or are you the key leader that runs everything? You got to be there. You got to have your hands in everything. Otherwise, things go south, and you're probably going to be in the red zone there. And we find that often with companies that are a little bit smaller, and that can be a common thing. So don't feel bad if that's you. We just got to start developing that system. Leadership compounds. It's super powerful. So for every leader that's in your organization, they're going to be directly influencing 5, 10, 15 people. So when you build that one leader, you're going to compound your efforts. And people value leadership opportunities. They want time with you as the leader. They want that time. They value that time. They want a need development within your organization. They'll stay a lot longer. And that's going to also go back into that winning environment. Okay. So when you have a lot of good leaders, the winning becomes much, much easier. So keep your best people, keep them happy, keep them in, develop them as leaders. Develop your leaders and you'll see the winning environment increase, which is going to directly feed into your sales team going from amateur to pros. Sorry, I'm waving my markers at you. Now, you should have a really, really good understanding of where you're at. Maybe you got a few red lights around, maybe you got a couple yellow lights, maybe you got all greens. If you do all greens, congratulations. You should create a video and tell us how you're doing it. But that's how the Key 5 sales systems build our sales teams from amateur into pro and get us the real sales results that we want and we need. Hopefully this offered a lot of clarity for you on how your sales organization, your sales team are doing. I bet already you've been able to pinpoint your areas of growth and opportunity. Now, what we do and what I do is I specialize in installing 1 to 2 proven sales systems into your business and with your sales team. We do that in 90 days and the impacts are crazy. Everything I've explained today about the Proven 5 sales systems, we actually have methods, trainings, and systems to dial it in for you. We specialize in working together one-on-one. We do that in 90 days. It's absolutely impactful. It changes the game. It's crazy how much we can do in literally 90 days. So next steps for you, if you want to see what it's like working together, message me on Instagram, comment the word pro. I'll send you some information about what it looks like working together. We can see if it's a good fit or not, a good fit for you, a good fit for me, because I don't work with a lot of companies. I only work with 8 companies at a time. That allows me to give one-on-one service to them, really high-level service, and I don't spread myself too thin. If it looks right working together, awesome, look forward to that. If it's not, that's okay. Hopefully you'll be able to follow our content more here. So take those next steps. The sales results are not going to fix themselves. You got to take some steps and take some actions. If it's right, great. If it's not, then you'll know too. So either way, thanks for tuning in and have a great day out there and create some more sales.